If you want a Star Wars story you can finish in a few chill evenings, Battlefront 2's campaign might actually be perfect, or not. Let's see if it deserves a spot in your backlog. Hey everyone, I'm Stefan. Let's jump in. Alright, quick setup if you've never touched the campaign or you forgot it exists. Battlefront 2's story puts you mostly in the boots of Iden Versio, an Imperial Special Forces commander in Inferno Squad. The big hook when this launched was, you're not a rebel, you're the elite Empire hit squad. The story is set around the end of Return of the Jedi and then moves into that post-Ender era. So you're there when the second Death Star goes boom, you see the fallout, and you get a peek at how the Empire reacts as everything starts falling apart. It's very much trying to fill that gap between the original trilogy and the sequels. Over time, the story shifts from the Empire's elite squad to something a little more familiar. There's betrayal, doubt, people questioning orders, and you can probably guess where that goes. It doesn't do anything mind-blowing original, but it does feel like a legit Star Wars side story. Big set pieces, recognizable planets, and those "we are absolutely in a movie right now" moments. You'll also get to play as some iconic heroes along the way. Luke, Han, Leia, Lando, those missions definitely scream, we know you want to be the famous character for a bit. And they kind of break up Iden's journey with more fan service, for better or worse. It's not the deepest narrative ever, but it's fully voiced, nicely animated, and shot like an interactive Star Wars miniseries. Think short, punchy, seasonal for show, not a huge RPG epic. So how does it actually feel to play through the campaign in 2026? The short version? It feels like a very polished Star Wars roller coaster that really wants you to show you as many toys as possible in a few hours. You're really stuck doing one thing for long. One mission you're sneaking around the Star Destroyer corridor as Iden with silenced headshots and gadgets. The next thing you're a massive dogfight above a planet, and then you're suddenly on the ground with AT-ATs stomping past you while everything explodes. The game is constantly switching between infantry and space combat to keep you moving. Iden herself plays like a slightly upgraded trooper. You've got your blaster, abilities, and some cool gear to mess with, druid hacks, stealth, takedowns, that kind of thing. It's not super complex, but it's satisfying enough that you don't feel like you're just a tutorial bot. When the campaign leans into her as a competent special forces lead, it's at its best. Then you've got the hero missions. Every time the story throws you into Luke's robe or Han's jacket, the game is basically going, okay, we know why you're here. Lightsabers, force powers, badass pistol work, it's pure fan service. Sometimes it works really well. Luke cutting through stormtroopers in a forest, or Leia holding a defensive line with her squad while you try not to get overrun. Those missions feel like little interactive scenes pulled right off the movies. Other times it feels a bit like, and now we pause the main story so we can be Lando for 20 minutes. Still fun, but just a bit disconnected. The pacing is very blockbuster shooter from that era. Lots of explosions, characters yelling over comms, ships crashing in the background, big walk and talk moments that move into firefights. If you played stuff like other Call of Duty campaigns, you'll feel right at home. It doesn't waste a ton of time, it just drags you from one set piece to the next. On PS5 the campaign benefits from the higher frame rate and the faster loading. You're in and out of missions quickly, everything looks sharp, and the cinematics still holds up visually. The lighting, the armor details, the space battles, they genuinely look great for something that's been around for years. Now the less shiny side. The campaign is pretty linear and can feel a bit on rails. There's not much room for creative problem solving. You're mostly doing exactly what the game tells you in fairly tight spaces. Some objectives are very go here, press this, defend that, and if you've played a lot of shooters, you'll see the structure a mile away. The difficulty is also pretty chill on normal settings. You can crank it up if you want more of a challenge, but by default it feels tuned for we want you to see the story, not die 50 times. Which is fine, just don't go in expecting super tactical, punishing gunfights. The extra campaign content they added later pushes the timeline a bit further and gives you a bit more to chew on. But it's still all in that same vibe. Short, focused, cinematic missions that are more about the experience than deep systems. So overall, the campaign isn't some giant replay forever kind of mode. It's more like, here's the compact, good-looking Star Wars story you can knock out over a couple of evenings and feel pretty satisfied with. Alright, let's answer the actual question. Is the campaign in Battlefront 2 worth playing in 2026? Or should you leave it buried while you only touch multiplayer? If you're a Star Wars fan who cares about story at all, I'd say yeah, it's worth a run. It's not going to change your life, but it's fun, well acted, good looking little slice of Star Wars that fills the cool gap in the timeline and lets you see the war from an Imperial soldier's point of view before things shift. It's especially easy to recommend if you already own the game or grabbed it cheap. You're basically sitting on a short Star Wars campaign that you can finish in a few sessions and then decide if you want to touch multiplayer or not. As a weekend project, it's kind of a perfect. If you're someone who loves big branching RPG stories with massive choices and consequences, this isn't that. This is very much a linear shooter campaign with some emotional beats, some cool moments, and a lot of spectacle. You're here to watch a story while occasionally blowing things up in between, not rewrite the galaxy. Also, if you absolutely hate being pulled into hero missions or you don't care about any of the characters, the campaign might feel a bit like a very long tutorial. It's still fun, but you might finish it and go, cool, glad I saw it once, and never touch it again. So here's the simple breakdown. If you're a Star Wars fan who likes cinematic campaigns, play it. If you already own the game and want a short story to clear in a few nights, play it. If you only care about super deep, choice-driven narratives, or you're allergic to linear shooters, this can probably stay in your backlog until you're in the mood for some popcorn-style Star Wars. For most people though, I'd say do yourself a favor and at least run through it once. It's a nice little Star Wars story that doesn't overstay its welcome. If this helped you decide what to do with your backlog, throw the video a like, it genuinely helps a ton. And tell me in the comments, are you playing just the campaign or jumping into multiplayer after?